amigos, es Danilo Montero.
Hola, este es David Escarpeta.
Hola, soy Daniela Barroso.
Hola amigos, soy Cristín de Clario.
Hola, somos Blessed.
Hola mis amigos, soy Benjamín Rivera de la tribu de Benjamín.
Hola, ¿qué tal amigos? Les habla José Adrián Romero.
Hola, soy Andy Alemani.
Hola, ¿qué tal mi gente? Les habla Alex Zurdo y a todos los que están en sintonía. Hola amigos, soy Alex Campos.
Hey Houston and hello USA. This is Dr. Vicky Cruz with the Hero Network. Hope you all are dry this wet morning. It's been raining for the past couple of days here in Houston, but it is all well. Why? Because we Houston can pull through anything. Why? Because we, the United States, can do and pull through anything together, right? So welcome to our show. I want to introduce to you two special guests. Okay, so these guests are not just guests, but these guests are heroes. And they're my personal hero because I get to call these guests not only a coach of hero, but my friends, my sisters. And so I'm just excited. Victor couldn't be with us this morning, but like I said, we do have to, and I know that Jose Luis is stepping to the back. I want to give a huge shout out as we get started to our Aliento Radio. Thank you so much, Aliento, for sponsoring us and not just sponsoring, supporting us. Everything that you do, Jose Luis y Claudia, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. So now I'm going to introduce to you two special people. To my left is Mia Meza. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
An honor to be here.
Yes. Honored to be here.
Yes.
And to my right, it is Anna Garza.
Yes, hi.
Hi. So we have so much to share with you just in about 5 minutes because we have a very important guest who's been with us before, right? The Bridge Over Troubled Waters, Jessica LeBlanc, amazing partner. And so we are just so super excited to have her come on board to share more about the Bridge Over Troubled Waters. But in the meantime, we're going to spend 4 minutes just because I want you listeners to hear straight from our coaches, their experiences, and the transformation happening through the Hero program. So we're going to start with Mia.
All right.
Mia. So Mia Meza.
Yes.
So you both, your husband and Terry and yourself have been a part of Hero.
Right.
Talk to us about the journey and the coaching and just anything that's in your heart and the transformation that you see to the audience.
Well, it has been an amazing time supporting your program, Hero. It's been wonderful. And also, we feel honored to be part of Hero because we all do have social responsibilities, It's not just going here and there. No. We are all part of a bigger community. So we should be having this social responsibility, helping people, our youngest people, because they care. It is so important to be supporting them in many ways. We have all been like teenagers and everything, We know how hard it is, and be able to support them and be there for them at the right time, with this after the pandemic went on, it's difficult for all of us. It's not just them, for families, for everyone. So, so it takes a village to build those people, and we all want to be part of that village, supporting our young people, helping them through difficult times. And we have been there, so we know that sometimes there are difficult times for them. And if we know our experience, our personal experience, and how we have overcome things, we can help them, encourage them, and support them, through difficult times for them. So it is an honor to be here with you, Vicky Cruz, Dr. Vicky Cruz, and the Hero Program. Thank you so much for the invite.
No, you inspire me, sis. Your stories, your resilience, and what you do to be here in the United States, because Mia is is from the Mexico City.
Mexico City.
From Mexico City, and so she's been here in the United States for 3 years. But she's been here with a purpose. She knows her purpose, and she's talented. She has a voice. Like she says, she has experience and she has that voice, And next I'm going to introduce, and thank you so much, Mia. And next we have Anna here, that her and her husband, Jesse, are both coaches for the program. And she's going to share her experience. And I want to share with you the shirt. As many of you know, Hero is sharing values. We're about aligning children, teaching them how to be the basic fundamentals of values. Hero, encouraging, respectful, on task, okay? And we'll share more about that later. You'll see Anna wearing her Hero Plus shirt. Yeah, we know we talked about it, but we're going to switch it over to Anna to show you her Hero Plus shirt.
Yes, there it is. There you have it.
The Hero Plus shirt. Anna has, where are we at? So we can just show you. Here it goes, right here. The Hero Plus shirt. Yes, we have that because Hero Plus is the faith-based, where not only we have coaches, but they're chaplains that are there available for the students, because we know, as going out into the schools, that you've seen it firsthand, Anna, right, with the children and how hungry they are.
Yes. Everyone has something inside of them that they know there's more out there. So they'll bring it up, like my faith or God, that they need that. Because we all need that.
Yeah. And they talk about how sometimes when we ask the question, how do you encourage yourself? And many of them will just bring it up. Like, hey, this is what I do.
Yes, it's part of everyone. Everyone has their own
way,
beliefs, their own religion. And we're not here to judge or, talk about where they're at. God deals with everyone individually, but so they can be comfortable, whatever they want to talk about. Whatever doubts or questions, that they shouldn't be afraid, because we all have a journey. And if it's not being taught in school, well, they can feel free that there's people out there that are still willing to help them.
Yeah, and you've done really well. I love your ways of speaking to the youth, speaking to the parents. You were there, you and your husband, our coaches, you and Jesse, both alumni of Milby High School, and going back into Milby, talking to the parents. What was that like? And, and why do you do what you do, Anna?
Well, like you said, I kind of feel old, but I'm not that old. Going back to Milby, who would have known it wasn't planned? But, if you have an opportunity to help someone, because maybe you didn't get that help when you were their age. So you just have that compassion that you want to speak hope to them. Like Mia mentioned earlier, we were all teenagers at once. It's not easy, especially if you don't have that good relationship with your parents, because as parents, it's not easy either. So just telling them that it's possible, that it's never too late to have that good relationship with your parents, and parents with their children, as I also have 2 young children, teenagers, and we're working through that. Because sometimes you just need someone to be vulnerable, honest, and open up. That's to right. What you're going through. We already been through it, or we're going through it together. Like you say, it's a community. There shouldn't be no shame. There shouldn't be no fear, but we can reach out and get help. Like you said, there's some people that probably didn't do that in those suicides. That's kind of what moved me to want to go back and help. Because yes, I could probably say I want to be somewhere where I'm going to get paid or do something with my time, but it's not all about money. It's about time. It's about time and commitment to help someone.
That's right. And that's what Hero's about. Helpful, encouraging, respectful, on task. And, one of my favorite partners here, we're going to launch, and I thank you so much to both for being here, co-hosting with me and your stories and all the support that you give, because like Mia says, it takes that village, Mm-hmm. And so what we're going to do, Jose Luis, you said we have our caller, right? Okay, great. What do you call, is there any way that, yeah, there you go. So, Jessica, are you there?
I'm here, Vicki. Yes, thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And, last month, and we've talked about it, it's been about a couple of weeks now, about having you guys back on, here on the show with the Hero Network. We know last month, first, before we get started, because you know me, I'm going to go into the questions, but I want the hearers to know about Jessica and the Bridge Over Troubled Waters. Can you just give our listeners and our audience information about you, Mama, please?
Of course, yeah. So, it is repeating on the phone line. Is that normal? I hear myself.
You hear yourself? Okay.
Yeah, it's echoing back to me. And if that can't be changed, that's fine.
So I can't hear you. Oh, lower the volume? He says to lower your volume. Jessica.
Okay, is that better?
Is it better for you?
I still hear myself, but I'll try to ignore it.
Okay.
So I am a proud mother of two. I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. I have been in the anti-violence movement for almost 15 years now. Mm-hmm. Absolutely adore the work that I do serving survivors of domestic and sexual violence. I really feel like it is so important for us to really release the stigma of these forms of violences, and really work on social change. I know we're going to talk more about that later. But the Bridge Over Troubled Waters, we are a nonprofit that serves all survivors of domestic violence, sexual violence, stalking, and human trafficking. All of our services are free. We serve people of all ages, men, women, children. Most people think we only serve women and children, but we serve men as well. We know that men can be victims of these forms of violences.
That's right. That's right. And go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, so I know that there's several resources and services that the Bridge Over Troubled Waters offers outside of resources. Are you there?
Oh, yes. Sorry, you broke up a little bit.
So no, I was just telling them, outside of what you guys are doing, can you tell the audience all the resources that you do provide to listeners or to those who may be in need or...
Of course, yeah. So we're most known for our shelter. So we have a 100-bed emergency shelter. So for those people who do not have a safe place to stay, if they're fleeing violence, they can call our 24-hour hotline. So 24 hours a day, we are available, advocates answering that line to help connect people with our services and other services in community if we're too far. We're located in Pasadena, Texas, but we serve people all over. So I'm just going to share a hotline real quick for those folks. It's 713-473-2801. We also, for those people who have a safe place to stay, we also serve people who just want to heal from the violence maybe they experienced a long time ago, or if they're still in an abusive relationship. So we have advocates and individual counselors and support groups. We help with legal advocacy. And so for people who are really working on leaving an abusive relationship or want to heal from violence they experienced a long time ago, we have so many options for counseling and advocacy that people can access here at the Bridge for free.
Awesome. And then I know that there's also the Bridge for Kids.
Yes. So Yes. Like I said, we serve children of all ages. So we have a child care for survivors in our shelter and housing programs. We can also serve people in community who are accessing our services. And then we have advocacy for those kids too. We do lots of different forms of healing practices with them, using art, using sensory rooms. We have a mentorship program for those kiddos as well, so they have some positive male role models in their life, because many of them are coming in here with their moms, but they need more examples of healthy masculinity as well, right? So that children's building is all about, for us, it's really about ending generations of violence.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so it's definitely a cycle. What inspired you, Jessica, to focus, on this career and education and everything that you do with the prevention work? What inspired you?
Yes, definitely. So I am a survivor of sexual assault and domestic violence. I experienced dating violence as a teenager in high school. I experienced domestic violence in college and sexual assault in college. But that really, that didn't set me on the path for the movement originally. I didn't even know this work existed when I was a survivor. I didn't know agencies like The Bridge were available to me. And that's another reason why I feel like this work is so important, because people do not realize these resources are available. But when I went to college, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I kept changing my major. I ended up talking to a career counselor, and they did a test for me, and I was a 99% match for social work. And I said, what is social work? I just thought that was something you did for volunteering. Is that CPS? I had no idea. And they said, take this intro class and see what you think. And so I took the class, and I kid you not, Vicki, I cried like a baby during my first class because I realized this is where I was meant to be.
I bet there was so much
healing. Our professor
healing.
was amazing, and she just shared what it meant to be a social worker, and I knew I'd found what I wanted to do. And so my first internship actually ended up being a similar place to The Bridge. It was an advocacy center for crime victims and children, and I fell in love with the work and the movement, and in many ways have healed as well for my own trauma through my own therapy and support groups, but also through doing this incredible advocacy work for survivors. And so once I did that internship, I've never looked back. I've been in the movement ever since.
Wow, Jessica, you're amazing. I love it. And, and no better way than to help someone else get the healing, but somebody who's experienced it that can, have that empathy to relate to, a child or a woman. So, we totally can relate. And when I say we, I have some co-hosts that are here with us today. These are coaches, hero coaches that are boots on the ground with us through the Hero program. And I'm going to introduce you to them, Mia Meza and Anna Garza, and who possibly can relate on their journey when it comes to the abuse. And I've asked them to put together some questions for you as well. And I'm going to introduce Mia to you, Jessica, and I'm sure that she's got, something to say.
Hi, Jessica. Good morning.
Wonderful.
This is Mia Mesa, and I first would like to say I love what you're doing, and I love that you're able to provide those resources for all those people, in need, at this time. And wow, it's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. I think it's
24/7.
Yeah, it's wonderful what you're doing, and I just want to say thank you, for what you're doing.
Yeah, so this morning...
thank you so much for your kind words. Thank you.
So this morning, Mia and I, and sometimes Anna, we walk, right? And Mia and I were talking about these kids that are in the schools that go through abuse. And and we were talking about that, like, Vicki, we need a hotline. You know, these two here are always with solutions. They're like, we need a hotline. And I said, no, we have a hotline. We don't need our own hotline. I said, all we got to do is the bridge has it. So this is the one, the group that I'm like, hey, we've got this. They've got it. They're experienced. Listeners, they are experienced. They have the resources. I know it because they've been a blessing in my personal life, my family's life. And not just for just a year or two, but the bridge has been around my life for, I think, the last 20 years. I mean, when you guys were on Westy Lane, right there by Main Street in Pasadena, I was working. That's how long the relationship has been, and they have been so dependable. So thank you, Jessica. What's your question to her?
Yes, Jessica. So I want to know, what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about I'm sorry about this word, domestic violence, and of course, sexual assault. Is that, how do you say it? Assault?
Yes.
Assault. Yes.
You're good, sister.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you for asking. That is such a great question, because this conversation needs to happen for sure in community. So, so for domestic violence, I think a lot of people think it's really easy to leave an abusive relationship, and it is not. It is very challenging to leave these relationships. There's many very huge challenges and barriers for individuals who want to leave or who are thinking about leaving. And so I always tell people, be compassionate. Keep a close relationship with your loved ones. If you know someone going through domestic violence, they may not be ready to leave when you want them to, but they eventually will be ready, and you want to be there, open arms. You want to be a safe place for them to land when they are ready to leave, because eventually they will. It might take them many times.
Yes.
We know that on average, a survivor leaves and returns to an abusive relationship 7 to 9 times before leaving for good.
Do you know something? Yes, it is
and
true,
so-
because I myself was part of domestic violence, and it took me like more times that what you're saying, absolutely. But
Especially
finally,
being a wife, right, with children.
yeah, because you don't know what is gonna come. I married this extremely wealthy guy, and he used to tell me, "You're nothing without me." So when I look back, and I had my 2 little kids right there with me, and I was like, what am I gonna do? If I live this comfortable life and everything. So I read what you're saying. I mean, yes, absolutely. And yeah, it takes several times for people to realize, but when they have the courage, it takes for them to leave, the person that is abusing you. Yeah, they need that safe place to get to, as you're saying. Absolutely.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And we, the Bridge, are here, but it's so much easier for people to access us when they have support in their life, family, friends. Even a coworker can help support a survivor leave and access our resources.
And we talk about that to our students when we're there, and where we tell them to identify, assess themselves and the need they may have. We share the stories and how, the abuse, in some cases when we're allowed, or, time permits, and those situations where we talk about where we've been on a soft approach, but and we tell the students to be mindful of what others are going through. Anna's on the phone. She's here with us, Anna Garza, Jessica, and so she's another coach who has a question, and she's going to share a little bit about herself or anything you want to share in your heart to Jessica.
Hi, Jessica. This is Anna. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
I'm
you.
glad to hear y'all have the Bridge Over Waters for children too, because it's not just women or adults, children as well can be experiencing different types of abuses. So I'm glad to hear that. And my question for you is, what role does education play in breaking cycles of violence, especially for underserved communities?
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, I mean, many people don't even know the Bridge exists. No one talked to me, or when I asked audiences and community, has anyone ever talked to you really about what a healthy relationship is? Many people say no, this is not something we talk about in school. It's rarely talked about at home, really explicitly. What are these pillars of a healthy relationship? What are signs of an abusive relationship? You know, many of us grow up in households that are at least emotionally abusive, maybe verbally abusive, or even physically abusive. And so for some of us, some of these forms of abuses are normalized. And so this education, talking about what are the signs, what is a healthy relationship, what are the resources and rights for children and adults out there who are experiencing violence, this really, you know, knowledge is power. And in domestic violence relationships, that person causing harm is trying to take all the power and control away from that person. So if we can equip them with knowledge about what is happening, give them words and language and resources to what their experience is, they're much more likely to realize, okay, here's what's happening. This isn't okay. There's people out there who want to help me get out of this relationship. And there's much more hope, right? When we have this education.
You know, and it does start, like we know that much abuse can start from the home, Jessica, and carry on. And let me ask you this. I know that last month was Child Abuse Prevention Month. Mm-hmm. And I know when we spoke, last week, we talked about the training that you're offering the community, because it takes education, as we all know, to educate. As you talk about that, can you tell us what are some of the effective ways parents and educators can talk to kids and teens about healthy relationships?
Yeah, so first I always say it's about modeling, because kids are always watching us, right? They're learning by our behaviors just as much as about what we say. And sometimes if we're not walking the walk, it doesn't matter what we say, right? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I mean, and we're all human, sometimes our communication isn't always the most healthy. So how can we really engage in honest and open conversations with our young people? How can we really remember what it's like to be a teenager as well, and talk to them honestly about these pillars of a healthy relationship, letting them know that, they should be able to set boundaries. What are their boundaries? Have conversations about those. And then making sure they're always in relationships where people respect their boundaries. Talk to them about I statements, healthy communication. How do we talk about our feelings, engage in arguments in a way that are still respectful and healthy? Many young people think you can't have an argument without it turning into a disrespectful or violent fight.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's just not the case.
And it's not the case. I mean, ensuring that parents are approachable. We've had that discussions before with our coaches. Our coaches have extended that because, Anna, we testified in the last parent meeting we had that some of the students had said that they couldn't speak to their parents. And what else did you find in the parent relationship when we talked about that, the modeling the behaviors?
Yes, the modeling the behaviors that a lot of children are afraid to open up to their parents and their response, so they will keep their emotions to themselves. And you encourage them that they should speak up.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be afraid, because if they internalize everything, then that's probably one of the reasons of suicide too, because they never speak about what they're dealing mentally, emotionally. So just having them build that healthy relationship and knowing that you can communicate with your parents, and parents to understand, as a parent too, that we need to be better listeners and not judge everything or criticize or complain about everything they're going through, but just to be a good listener.
And an encourager, to encourage your child, like you talked about, Mia, the self-esteem, that we all need, whether it's a friend, whether it's your neighbor, to always, keep that, the spirit of just encouraging one another, because we never know Jessica, who or what. So what happened last month? I mean, what was your success like? Talk to us about what we've missed out on what you guys were doing, because I know it's been a lot.
Yeah. So, we have many conversations in community. Different groups invite us out, different schools invite us out, and we talk about how do we prevent violence? What is a healthy relationship? We got together with a large group of our teens and asked them, what are we at the Bridge missing for your own healing? What are your struggles right now? What do you need help with? And a lot of it was, I need help with anger management. I need help with handling communication. I need help with they didn't say emotional intelligence, but that's exactly what it was. It was, we want help in how do we feel and express our emotions and work through them in positive ways. So, for us, Child Abuse Awareness Month, Sexual Assault Awareness Month is super important, but we want to do this work, and we are doing this work daily, right? And so we want to invite people to have us out to hold conversations any time of the year.
Correct. And so how do these prevention efforts differ from intervention, and why prevention is so crucial?
Yes, thank you for asking. So intervention is so important, right? I started off in this movement as a counselor, a crisis counselor and legal advocate. But with prevention, this is really about preventing first-time perpetration. This is about changing social norms so that people do not think it's okay to harm other individuals. This is going to be generations, decades worth of work, right, that takes significant time. But the beautiful thing about prevention is it gives us hope that less people will ever experience sexual assault, domestic violence, right? We don't want our children or our grandchildren to be going through the rates of harm that are currently occurring. Right now, 1 in 3 teens will experience dating violence just while they're in high school. 1 in 3, and that's just what we know from reports. And we know it's underreported. So prevention is all about how do we build equity? How do we build empathy, a sense of connection among people, and also emotional wellness and intelligence. These are the factors that are going to help prevent people from harming other people in the future.
Correct. Giving them that safe space, giving that children that safe space. And we've had this conversation at the schools, because in the schools, we're in a season where the parent engagement, everybody's like, well, God's not in school. That's why things are chaotic. And this is why, kids have gone wild. And it's not that, because God can be at home. But 2, it's like we need more parent engagement. I mean, we live in a society now where there's, social media, there's so many distractions, whatever it could be. We can't even blame social media. It goes back into the education where time management is taught, how to maintain focus, and what our goals are, so we, not fall to the wayside, but teaching our children those fundamental values, and so, I mean, education is the key. So I know Mia has another question.
Yes, Jessica, yes. And educate us, please, because it is so important what you're saying. It is an education, as Vicky was saying, we have to walk through. So what are the signs should young people be aware of when it comes to unhealthy or abusive behaviors?
Yeah, this is a great question. So first, I always say it's a term called love bombing. I don't know, y'all have probably heard it from young people, right? It's where they enter a relationship and the other person is, I love yous really fast, and texting all the time and FaceTiming all the time and wanting to spend all their time with them and getting very serious very quickly. Right. This is a sign that this is at bare minimum not healthy or potentially going to lead to an abusive relationship. Jealousy, when someone is trying to control who you talk to, they're getting upset when you're talking to people maybe of the opposite sex, right? Even getting jealous of friends. This is possessiveness. That is a big red flag for us. If they're starting to control what you're wearing, making comments about what you're wearing, things that you're doing, who you're talking to, wanting to spend all their time with you. These are kind of some red flags. No, if they start to get in between you and your family or you and your friends, your friend isn't that good for you. I heard they don't like us. Maybe we should put some distance between us and them. No, our partners should be very supportive of our healthy relationships with our friends and family.
Yes, absolutely.
If they ever start to bring down your self-esteem, if they start to belittle you or make you feel like you're not the amazing person you are, that's a red flag.
Right.
Our partners should be building up our confidence, not tearing us down.
Yes.
If they're constantly tracking you, there's one thing about checking in on your safety, but tracking, wanting to follow your location everywhere, showing up places, that's not healthy.
Thank you so much for letting us know. We all need to know all that.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, we know, it just educates us, right? It's like train the trainer as well, because, when we go into talking about just so many things that these kids need help, whether it's education and they're lacking on performance, help at home, whether it's, anything, any non-academic essentials, it is just so important that we all stay connected, And then I know that Anna has another question. And thank you so much, Jessica, for everything.
Hi, Jessica. How can schools and community organizations support violence prevention among youth?
Yeah, so they can definitely invite us out if they'd like to have that conversation about these forms of violences, but they can also begin youth programs where young people, kind of peer-to-peer programs, where they can become leaders and bystander interveners, and they can do this work in their schools and communities, because young people listen most to who? Other young people, right?
Correct.
So if we can train a group of leaders, a group of teens, about what is healthy relationships, what are these signs of abuse, what are the resources available for young people, we can train teens to go in and support their peers, to call in harmful behavior. And oftentimes, young people will be much more receptive to that than an adult who they don't know and they don't have trust with, listening to them as much, right? But we love coming into all spaces and hold conversations and hold groups. We hold psychoeducational groups as well.
Correct.
So that we can build that trust with young people.
So how, when we have our next event where we're out there, are you available to come also speak to our students?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
I know Mia and I think Octavia has also gone out as well with us. But we welcome you, Jessica, to come out. We would love to, introduce you as well and get some partners out there to our hero events. In the meantime, what else would you like to let the audience know about about the program, or is there any final words that you would like to give the audience?
Well, there's one more misconception that I think is really important that I want to share for everyone, and I feel like it's very affirming and validating for survivors.
Correct.
Unfortunately, there's this belief in community that many sexual assault survivors are lying. Sexual assault is not something that people lie about. So when we look at false reports, it's on par with all other violent crimes, and that is 2 to 8%. And within that false report is recants, and that is where people, report to the police and then say, "Wait, I lied, I made it up. Never mind, this never happened." And many survivors do that because it's so triggering and re-traumatizing to go through this process of sharing their story over and over again, feeling like they're having to explain themselves and feeling like they're not believed. And it's like they're going through the violence over and over again. And so I would just, we never, when someone says someone stole my purse, we don't think they're lying, right? Or someone, stole X, Y, or Z, their phone, we don't think they're lying, right?
Right.
But as many people in community say, "Oh, they could just be making this up," or "They could have wanted it." We know that people don't, it's stigmatized to be a sexual assault survivor. People don't lie about this. So please, that's one area of bystander intervention that I always encourage is when you hear this, no, actually, when you look at the research, that's just not true.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate it. And again, listeners, the Bridge Over Troubled Waters is, yes, in the Pasadena area off of Fairmont, Allen, Genoa. And but there's also, I believe, I want to say that you also have pilot offices. I know that in the Southwest Houston, is it Alief or Missouri City?
So we have a space in Baytown at one of the local churches in Baytown, and at Lee College we have an office space. We're going out to SHAPE in Houston, but their office location actually burned down, and so they're rebuilding right now. So those are our locations in Baytown. Okay, so Baytown. And let's see here. Anything else? Any final words that you want to give out? Give that contact number one more time. And I'm going to just write that down so we can put it out there on our comment section as well. Our hotline number, available 24 hours a day, every day of the year, is 713-473-2801. And yes, to all the survivors out there, please know that you're not alone. Unfortunately, there's many of us who've experienced this violence, and we believe you. We're here to support you at the Bridge. Find a friend who you trust, tell them, lean on them for support, and then please do connect to your local sexual assault or domestic violence agency. There's many of us across the Houston area and across Texas, so no matter where you are, support is available. That's right. And I thank you for all the support that you've given myself, my family. Many of you know that my baby sister, I lost my baby sister 6 weeks ago. It was March the 24th. And we're still kind of waiting for autopsy reports and what have you to determine what happened. So it's a very, very crucial situation, and it matters because you never know how close it can hit home. So her story is not over, her story is, continues her journey. She's just not here with us. And so I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Jessica, for everything, for being such a huge supporter and partner with the Hero Network program, Mission One USA. Listeners, you're going to hear more from us. We are planning to do a short live video, face-to-face, because I really want you to know the Bridge as deeply as possible, because abuse is real. And we've got to educate. So we thank you so much, and we'll stay in touch. Thanks for being with us, okay? Of course. Thank you so much for inviting me, Vicki. I really appreciate being here. Thank y'all so much for what you do in the community as well. It's so important. Awesome. Appreciate you. Love you, sis. We'll talk to you later, okay? All right. Sounds great. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. So there you have it. Listen, if you know, please, and if you don't, be mindful. Be mindful. There's a phone number. She just gave it, a 24/7 hotline. With resources, they keep things confidential. You can share it. If you need counseling from past abuse, they are there. In the meantime, we want to spend some time here giving you a hero update before we actually sign off. Many of you know that, with everything, it takes the village, as we talked about. We have a barbecue benefit happening this Saturday at the Gonzalez Law Firm. Follow us on Mission One USA Facebook page to learn more about it. It's going to happen from 11 to 2 p.m. at the Gonzalez Law Firm. And so we will have barbecue sandwiches. It's $15 a plate. We need all the support that we can get. And we, from the bottom of my heart, for all those who have supported, thank you so much, because we just can't do this without you. We just can't. And so we want to talk about Milby High School. We do have where the 23rd Impact Day. Yeah? Give that a hand clap.
Yay!
So at Mission, at Milby High School, 4 things are going to happen immediately right after school, 3:30 to 5:30. One is we are going to remember our fallen heroes. our fallen buffaloes that we had 5 this year
Right.
who passed away. And it's been, at times discouraging for students. We know of one personally that, was troubled this past week or two ago. And we've got to ensure that our heroes, our parents are educated, our homes are educated, and resources are there, just like the Bridge Over Troubled Waters. So on May the 23rd, we are also going to talk about the Hero Impact on what we did, because together with Anna, Coach Mia, Jesse, and Terry, and many other coaches that were out there with Victor Escalante, our principal coach. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, Victor. Because, we had coach nights to help equip our coaches. We've had many come through, at least about 25 hero coaches that came through the program to go out and speak. Resources as the Alliance, Air Alliance. We had the Segovia Foundation who's gone out, AMP, the Milby Alumni Group, who's going to be coming back on May the 23rd. We've got the Hispanic alumni, the Co-Ed alumni, the Centennial alumni, and the Milby alumni. Milby is celebrating 100 years. You heard that right. Hand clap for that.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, Milby, 100 years, and we are just introducing where past meets the future, motivating our Milby Buffaloes to carry on that torch. What do you think? We have to right now more than ever carry on that torch. What do you think, Anna?
Yes, I agree with you. We need to do our part to continue for Milby to be a place of good memories. We don't want sad memories like this death of suicides. So they definitely need encouragement. And there's a reason that God allowed this program to exist. Now we need to continue to allow it to grow. And so I encourage others to support, because Vicky can't do it alone. She needs us right now to where it can be firm, planted strong. So when something's growing, that's when it needs more help. So I encourage a lot of people that are out there to support the program, because it's not just about Vicky, it's about the students out there, the children out there that maybe their parents are busy working and they don't have time, to speak into them or whatever they need help with. And this gives us an opportunity to help those parents.
Correct.
We can go by life and it'll go by so quick that we forget to stop and ask them questions like, how are you doing? Or, everything's just going by so fast.
Yeah.
But we need to stop and really think like, okay, we don't do life alone. There's somebody probably that needs help because they're probably feeling alone.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we know, and huge shout out to Lara Gallegos, Izzy's mom, who's also a coach and has worked with the students. They're always also touched by all the stories, but it hits home when they see Lara there. You've heard her this week about her daughter, 16 years old. And we just really want to embrace that day on May the 23rd from 3:30 to 5:30. The community is coming together, okay, to embrace our buffaloes and to really shout out for a year of resilience. So join us and follow us on mission1usa.com. Any final words?
I just would like to say, there's hope.
There is hope.
There's hope. And just hold tight in there, look for resources. Do whatever you have to do, There's hope. Your life is valuable.
That's right. Yeah.
You are enough.
That's right.
You are enough. I know there's difficult times. We all go through hardships, okay? But something, you see us here, you see Dr. Vicky, Coach Anna, you see me, Jesse, her husband, my husband, Terry. And we all have been through hardship.
A lot of hardship. I know you had your stepson too. Terry had a son through the midst of everything. He lost his son. Right. And then 2 months later or such, I lost my sister.
Yeah, it was like a month later.
A month later, yeah.
So there's hope. Just reach out, please. Just don't keep it for yourself. As Anna was saying, you know, they just keep it for themselves. Please don't. Just share it with someone you trust. You know, of course, go to people that can help you.
That's
you
right.
know.
That's right. And thank you both.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You want to say?
Yeah, that's what I want to say. There's hope. Please reach out, and you are enough. You are enough, and you can see us here and you think everything is going marvelous, but we are also going through hardship. Just don't look, I mean, how do you say that? Don't lose that, you know, there's a light and
Yeah.
there's someone there to help you. you
And
know?
it's ourselves. I mean, you know, when we find that hero within ourselves to look for that help, understand how we need that encouraging, what boundaries are we lacking, how to stay focused, and that's what hero does, is teaching the hero within us, because we're all our own hero, and then we are obligated to be others' heroes. So in the meantime, we are going to wrap it up. Follow us on Mission One USA. Support us. We are a nonprofit, Mission One USA. We love you. We love you, Houston. Go out and be a hero.